Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be here. Better late than never. Thank God the army have pulled out. Again, I think half milk better than none, especially if it is not split. So let me commend the army for listening at the end of the day to the voice of reason and to the cacophony of pleas, perhaps including threats. The modern army will not look at the threats, but will really look at the fact that legacy is such that a dastard act was committed, and it's not about who was right, who was wrong. It's about the fact that we should not continue to multiply wrongdoings. That you have decided to now move out of Okuama, it's a good one. I think on behalf of the vast majority of Nigerians, including the elders from the South and other areas, including our revered Chief Edwin Clark, I'd like to say a big thank you to the Nigerian military, while I still, in all honesty, commiserate with the loss of your colleagues. So it's a good thing. I wish it happened much earlier. I also wished and felt that if we can draw back the hand of the clock, the ugly factors that led to the comedy of errors that happened as regards what happened in Okuama can be reversed. I hope enough lessons have been learned. One of the few things that we are expecting is a white paper on how far with the investigations and, the army looking at it, even when at the end of the day, civil society felt that it should not be the responsibility of the army. I think we'll be able to put this behind us and use it to prevent a future occurrence. Very good question, I dare say. I mentioned a comedy of errors. I think the Nigerian army will be doing itself, that institution, a lot of disservice, and the rest of us, if they do not allow us to see the outcome of the investigation. And the outcome of the investigation will also include the fact that if the army as an institution itself needs to be indicted, we should be clear. There is no human being and no institution that cannot make a mistake. If we sweep this under the carpet, that will not be good. Secondly, you made mention of the fact that they were looking for the masterminds and the king of the area was invited by the military. I'm happy, despite advice and the hoopla that surrounded his showing up or not showing up, because his hands were clean, he did show up. I am given to understand that he was treated with humaneness and civility. Yes, other than the fact that he had to subject himself to the rules of the army. I'm happy that it was not rough-handled in any way. I'm also happy that he came back on a high. Does that now mean that we are not going to get justice served? Yes, we need to get justice served. The army is sub judice to the civilian authority of the Commander-in-Chief, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who must press all buttons to ensure the Attorney General of the Federation is also into the picture. And there shouldn't be any hush if we have embarked and we have attempted in our haste and in our anger to kill a snail with a sledgehammer, let's say so. Let's say so. I think civilian population is also well sensitized that in any part of the country, because shortly after the Okuama incident happened, we know a few other happened in the north of Nigeria, and it will happen elsewhere. We do not have the wherewithal to take another person's life, least of all our men and women in military. Also, on the part of the military, we have institutions in place that should be empowered to do certain things. We didn't allow that to happen. We should have learned enough lessons. Even if, say, for instance, the police allegedly, as we had, want to call on the military, basically because they are underarmed. By that I mean the kind of arms that they have to combat things like this have not cannot be compared to what we have in the hands of non-state actors. Gets me back to the fact that we need to recalibrate, we need to restructure, we need to look at our security apparatus, and we need to look at the tenets of the Constitution and follow it through to the letter. Again, all put together, this should be the last time this will happen, years after OD and Zaki Biam, and then, of course, Okuama, and then the ones that also happened subsequently. Please, let's know what our boundaries are. Let each arm that is empowered by the Constitution to handle law and order is allowed to do it. Let the journalist, who is also an arm of government, be made to do what needs to be done without hush-hush. And again, like I said, this will not come without us finding out, my suspicion, that we have acted perhaps ultra-biased, we have acted in excess of requirements by all parties. And apologies should be made to all and sundry, and the soul of the departed, as has been promised by the Commander-in-Chief, will not only be preserved, their names will be written in gold, and compensation, by my expectations, will have reached their loved ones as we speak. That is it. It has to be recalibrated. Don't let us deceive ourselves. There's a lot of distrust, no doubt about that. Uniform na cloth, na tailor dey sew am, Fela said, but we still have to maintain the fact that the uniform is a symbol of authority. Civilian, military collaboration, police, civilian collaboration should be enhanced in such ways and manners that will enhance what I call trust. Unfortunately, the military and the police, DSS, SSS, just name them, including the civil defense, including the yellow fever, people don't trust them. They always want to seek for the fieldy local. They can be bought with money. And this perception has to change. And that perception begins to change by the authorities, the Police Service Commission, the Military High Command, making sure they take care of the rank and file. Their pensions needs to be paid on time. Their insurances allegedly should be in place, but allegedly maybe it's not properly covered. It should be open book for everybody to see. And the Commander-in-Chief, down to the service chiefs, down to the Inspector General of Police, down to the District commissioners, DCPs, and the commissioners of police should be captains. They should be the last when you have untoward things like this happening, that should be paid. They should be the last that should leave this ship. It should not be the other way around. The pyramid should be that the base of the pyramid should be well taken care of, adequately, squarely, and fairly before the apex gets things. That is leadership and not rulership. So leading by example with character, leading by capacity, we must begin to now question the fulcrum of our constitution, which must be equitable to all and sundry. If we choose, for instance, that we are going to be having community police, state police, let's look at it very holistically at the subnational level so that we don't get it being abused as it's being feared. All put together, the military high command came from civilians. They gave birth to them, married to them. We are first and foremost civilians. And civilians must also understand that our men and women in uniform are kith and kin. Together, when we know our boundaries and we provide information, we don't sell them cheap, and we don't leak information about them to get them killed, the better it's going to be for everybody. Security is everybody's business. They need us as much as we need them, and it must be as that evil nil. I think one of the bane of our society, Okuama inclusive, is communication, open, and proactively said, integratedly made. I am also, will be at a loss if everything just goes mum. It shouldn't. Okay. Now, you have your protocols of coming to the public to come and announce. So let us know. Give us time. Give us a timeline. When you don't say anything, you give vent to people begin to speculate. So we must find out. You must let us know the outcome. Mr. State Governor, you also have a responsibility at the Council of States, etc., to press this. We must know. It's not a matter of going beyond your bounds. We must know. And if all that is failing, the buck stops on the president's table. The president should realize that we must get real closure. Okay, we've got a closure. I think I commend Mr. President for what he did at the burial for these young people. Now, the Okuama people that have been decimated, there certainly will be innocent people that must have been hit by bullets here and there. We can identify them. We don't have to wait. Get them compensated. It's not going to bring back life. Then if you feel that you did that because you suspected that they were complicit, and you only gone there to find out that they were not as complicit as it is, apologies is a sign of strength. Let's apologize. Let's do something. Let's put structures in place that this does not repeat itself. But that communication, even if you don't have anything that you're about to say now, it's all part of communications to also let us know that, yes, they are pulling out. Somebody should speak to Nigerians. Somebody should speak to the Okuama community. Somebody should speak to the youth. Somebody should speak to the elderly with that community, and by extension, the whole of Nigeria. It's very, very important that must take place. If it doesn't take place, the soil will continue to fester. And I pray for the life of me that will not be what we need to. At the end of the day, communication, like I said, at all levels, and Mr. President must press the button and ask for it if it's not coming. Find out why it is not coming. Is somebody sitting on his or her job and responsibility. Likewise, at the state level, Mr. State Governor, the president can speak to you and plead with you, speak to your people. Let's know the real closure to this Okuama unfortunate incident. And may it never happen again in our history.
Thanks for the time.
God bless you. It's also a pleasure. Thank you.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.